Milestones, reflections, the future. It's the Real Estate Show. Welcome to the Real Estate Show. My name is Rick Naples. I'm the broker of Zone Realty LLC. You zone your home. This show is a very special show for me because I wanted to take some time to talk about reaching milestones. Now, what's a milestone? Well, it's defined very simply as the stones that were put beside a road to mark where you are and how far you needed to go to get to where you wanted to. Milestones are also achievements. They're the levels that we reach throughout life when we accomplish certain things. And all of us have different milestones that we want to reach. We all set our goals, we all have dreams, we all experience different things throughout our lives that allow us to continue down certain paths. And sometimes those milestones, when we reach them, may send us in a different path than what we expected. Now, here on the Real Estate Show, I have reached several milestones. We just completed our 250th episode. 250. That's a lot of real estate shows. We started this show back in August of 2011 with an idea to be able to present what real estate was all about. Not only talk about real estate markets and maybe show some houses, but to talk about the transaction and the different things that are involved in going from not being in real estate to getting into real estate, whether that was selling a home or buying a home. And sometimes I even talked about becoming a realtor and what's involved with that. Personally, I've just crossed 20 years in this business. I started back in 2003. Got my license after a little bit of a while of kind of trying to figure out what I actually wanted to do. I have a finance and banking background, also a little bit of a retail type background, as well as a customer service background. So I looked at all those different things and skill sets that I had developed over the years and decided to go for a real estate career. And as I started my real estate career, I also hit levels or milestones. I became a champion realtor. I won awards. I've been recognized by my local association. I even served as president. Just a few years back, I became one of the first agents in the country to achieve what's called a commitment to excellence, which is something that the National Association of Realtors bestows on realtors who have demonstrated the top level of service they provide their clients and the professionalism that they present when they do their business. Again, a few years ago, another milestone was to start Zone Realty. I had been a real estate agent for a number of years. I worked for a couple of different brokers. I had a lot of successes. And I came to that point in my life where I decided I wanted to have my own real estate agency. So Zone Realty was born out of a consulting firm that I had. As Zone Realty went along, it experienced different milestones. Milestones of doing its first deal as a company, milestones of hiring its first agents, milestones of finding office locations, and so on and so forth. But let me step back. One important milestone that I have reached personally is a number of years ago I was approached by Nutmeg TV to do a part in another show they were producing. And as a result of that, I was asked whether or not I would consider to put together a show about real estate. So we started off a little rocky. We didn't really know what we wanted to do. I started off with a crew of a few people, and we filmed from some other locations, and We tried different formats to see what would work, and we had to learn the timing that's involved and how to light and how to film and how to do certain things and what forms you need and paperwork you need and releases you need and all that kind of stuff. So there was a learning curve. And as we went along, we started to achieve show after show, and each rotation, as they call it, we would be invited back to do more shows, and it continued on. I always found as a challenge doing the real estate show, what am I going to talk about? I mean, what subjects could I talk about that I really hadn't talked about before? And one of the things that's great about being in the real estate market as a real estate agent and as a broker is there's a lot of new things. Things keep developing in the market, in the mortgage rates, and the type of houses that come on the market and how they come on the market. There's a lot of different influences. It's the kind of thing where you're always learning and you're always achieving, step by step, different milestones. Let's take a look at this little presentation, and I'll be back with some reflections on how things have been going. As you go through life, sometimes you reach different points within that journey where you take the time to sit back and reflect, to look at some of the memories of the places that you've been, and maybe try to look at where you want to go. The real estate show, as I started it, as I said, I started with a small group of fellow realtors, and I had someone operating the camera, someone looking at sound, someone doing lighting, also helping with the editing process, and so on and so forth. And I discovered over a short period of time, as we went and did more shows, that one of the big challenges was trying to assemble all the people that I needed together in order to produce a real estate show. So over the years, people would go off and be busy and do other things, and I found that I would do the show by myself. So I was writing the show, producing the show, hosting the show, filming the show, editing the show, just about doing everything there is to do as far as getting the real estate show on the air. A lot of help came from Nutmeg TV, and a great thank you to the folks there because they taught me how to do this show, how to do the editing, how to put together presentations, how to lay everything out, timing, lighting, and all those different things. So a lot of education as I was going through. And that was a milestone for me thinking about it because I've learned new things. When we hit 50 shows, I said to myself, wow, I've hit 50 real estate episodes. That's quite an accomplishment. I mean, I really didn't know what I was going to do and what I was going to talk about, but I did 50 shows. We continued on. We reached 100 shows, 100 shows over time, and the years kept going on. That was a milestone. 150 shows. Wow, 150 episodes. Some different from the previous ones, most different. Some kind of older information that's been updated and reshown. and some building in some new information that has just come across. Then we hit 200 shows. I've been on the air here at Nutmeg TV to do 200 episodes of the real estate show. That's amazing to me. 200 shows of the real estate show. I mean, how much information does this guy have to talk about to do 200 episodes? Is it time to stop? Should I continue on? So I had to make some decisions, and I decided to continue with the show. And again, with the support of the folks at Nutmeg Television, I pushed on. Well, as I just said at the beginning of the show, I filmed my 250th show, and it just aired. 250 episodes. Now, if you do the mathematics, you figure that I've been doing this show now, when it comes to August of this year, 2023, 12 years I've been on the air. That's a long time. We do about 24 shows a year, give or take. So if you do the math, you take the 12 there, it's the 250 shows plus. Each show is thought off as far as what I'm going to do, how I'm going to say it, how I'm going to present it. I actually spend a lot of time sitting down with a piece of paper and pen and writing things out, kind of what I want to do, what I want to talk about, how I want to present it, and so on and so forth. And then what I want to do with the presentations that I put into the show to kind of go over what I've been talking about. So I'll build those. And as you know, if you watch the presentations, I happen to use the Windows Movie Maker a lot in order to do that. It's a very simple format. This allows me time to kind of break the show up so that you don't have to sit there and listen to me talk for half an hour. You do have these little presentations that give you a little break. But also to reiterate what I've been talking about so you can take some notes if you'd like to. I also added into the show our email address, information for you, and so on and so forth. As I've done the show over the years, I have grown a lot. I've grown personally. As I said, in the real estate industry, I've done a lot of things. I've served on committees. I've been on boards of directors. I was president of my local association. I achieved awards, recognitions. Zone Realty was just recently recognized in 2022 as one of the better real estate agencies in town. We just got recognized again for 2023. So there's a lot of those achievements going on. But also, too, reflecting back, I think of all the clients that I've had over the years. If it wasn't for your viewers, if it wasn't for the clients that have worked with me over the years, I wouldn't be standing here. So I reflect a lot on that. They have helped me get to where I am. The real estate show has tried to present over the years information that you can use. It's tried to give you a little bit of insight as to what goes on in the real estate world. Now, a lot of times, when you're looking to buy a house or your first-time buyer just getting out there, things are very confusing. A lot of times there's a lot of articles that are written by people, some realtors, some not realtors, that tell you this thing or that thing, or you should do this, or look out for that. There's all kinds of advice out there. It gets very, very confusing. One of the things that I've always done at my job as a broker is not only teach my agents, but when I'm working with clients, to teach them, here are the basic things that people need to know, and here are the things you need to go over. The real estate transaction is a mystery to a lot of people because there's so many moving parts before you actually get to the closing table. So a realtor will spend the time to work with their clients to kind of direct them through the different steps that they need to take. But the realtor can't do it on their own. There's a lot of things that the buyer and the seller have to do on their own in order for a deal to come together. And there are things the realtor can't do for them. For instance, as a buyer, you're looking to purchase a home, you've got to work with a mortgage officer. You have to put together all your financials. The realtor's not going to do that for you. You need to be prepared to do that for yourself. Your realtor's not going to give you life advice on how to live your life or handle your debts or what your credit is going to be. Those are all things that you develop on your own to get you in that position to be able to obtain a mortgage to buy a house. The realtor will come into play when it comes to looking for a house. Now, you're going to do a lot of search on the internet. You're going to talk to friends. You're going to look at newspaper ads, magazines, whatever it might be. But your realtor will help you focus all that to find those houses that fit within the budgetary guidelines that the mortgage officer has set for you, the so-called pre-qualification or pre-approval letter. As a seller, you need to do things on your own to prepare to sell the house, obviously. I did a show where I talked about cleaning and more cleaning and cleaning the cleaning and so on and so forth. The realtor is going to help you price your home competitively to what's going on in the market at that particular time to try to get you the highest price they can in the shortest period of time. So the realtor will also be your consultant to help you do certain things or be aware of certain things when your house is on the market. For instance, scheduling viewings or showings, as we call them. There are a number of different things. You yourself as an individual got yourself to that point by achieving, as I said earlier, a bunch of milestones. You did this to lead to that, you did that to lead to this, and so on and so forth. So as you've achieved all those things, you hope that you get to the point of where you're ready to purchase a home and become a homeowner, or you have already done that, you have a home, now you're looking to sell it to move on to another home. Let's take a look at this little presentation I call Reflections, and I'll be back with some other comments. Here on the Real Estate Show, I've been talking about milestones, achievements, levels that you reach. I've also talked about reflecting over time, what we've done here on the Real Estate Show, what I've done as a realtor. But I wanted to mention what's going to go on for the future. Can we predict the way the market's going to go? Can you predict the way your life is going to go? Well, you don't know. I mean, there are certain indicators, there's information you can develop. It's like investing. You can look at markets and see where things are going and make projections and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to our lives as well as real estate, we live each day as we can. We prepare for our futures the best way we can, and we try to put ourselves in a position for anything that might head us down a different path. As far as I'm concerned, I plan to continue doing real estate to the point of where I can't do it anymore. I plan to do the Real Estate Show as long as I possibly can until I don't enjoy it anymore. So the future looks bright. My advice to everyone that's out there is, as you're planning your future, look at how to get there step by step. Again, relating it to real estate, when you're looking to purchase a home, there are steps that you go through in order to get to that closing. The steps must be getting your finances in order, finding a realtor, finding the house that you wish to purchase, making the offer, doing the home inspection, getting through the appraisal, getting through the mortgage put together, eventually finding an attorney, and then going to the closing. There's just a number of different steps. Those are predictable because it's pretty much tradition as to how the transaction goes as you follow the steps through. So you kind of can predict the future a little bit. When you're doing a real estate transaction, you kind of know what the next step's going to be and when that's going to come in the immediate future. But you don't know the distant future. We've seen mortgage rates go up. We've seen them drop down a little bit. We hear all kinds of news out there. We can't really predict where things are going to go or where they're going to land. I try to stay as informed as I possibly can, and I believe you do too. Here on the Real Estate Show, as information becomes available, I'll share it with you as I always have done. I'll make comments on what's going on in the real estate market, hopefully share a little bit of my insights as a person that's been in the real estate industry for 20 plus years, done the Real Estate Show for a dozen years, and has celebrated now 250 episodes of the Real Estate Show. As always, I appreciate you taking the time of watching the show. I appreciate your comments. This is the Real Estate Show. My name is Rick Naples, broker of Zone Realty, and I always thank you very much for watching.
Nick Augustino right here at the East Side Restaurant. We always have the complete full dinner menu. Knockwurst, bratwurst, sauerbraten, potato pancakes, red cabbage, rice pudding, cream pies, all the desserts that Germany had to offer. I always do something different. Yes, I do. I brought seafood to the beer garden at the East Side Restaurant. East Side Restaurant, your German destination restaurant in Connecticut. Tiki-taka, hoy, hoy, hoy!